What do you say, baseball fans? Rye Bread talking baseball, episode 14. Broke a cardinal rule yesterday. No crying in baseball. It was supposed to be a happy day yesterday. We went over 100 subscribers, but we kind of went off the rails. But we're getting back into it today. Before we start, thank you, Apple Dolly, Daco Island, going over 100 subscribers. I really appreciate you out there. But we have to recognize that we are in the Twilight Zone. It's official. The government's recognized, the Pentagon, the government recognizing that UFOs are a thing. That's awesome. And the Yankees, Twins, and Astros are all in the cellar of their respective divisions. Something is not right. If you told me those three teams were on top of their divisions, Yankees, sure. Twins, probably, right? Eloy had just been hurt. We didn't know your mean Mercedes was your mean Mercedes. Could have easily had the Twins there. And then Houston, that would have been no surprise. But it's opposite day. New York's looking up at Baltimore. Minnesota's looking up at Detroit. And Houston's looking up at Texas. Those are the teams you might expect to find in the cellar of those divisions. But clearly it's topsy-turvy, and clearly it's early. But there's been a lot going on that we just can't explain. Starting in the East, the Rays gave one back to the Royals. That was an ugly series out there. The Yankees got a split in that two-gamer against Atlanta, and they were lucky to get it because Acuna didn't play. Acuna is the most influential daily player in baseball. His daily WAR is 1.7, and the Yankees dodged him. And you have to think, if he's in the game, the Braves probably take both of those. The Yankees just are not hitting. There's not really anything else to talk about until they start hitting. They're going to stay in last place if they don't hit. But they got more than they have seen yet out of Kluber. That was his best start. And that's what they wanted from him. They figured they could slug him to a bunch of wins. Kluber's not going to win a bunch of 3-2 games for you. Not yet, anyway. Not based on what I've seen. So New York heads out to Cleveland for some tough pitching matchups. Savali's 3-0, and they're rolling Domingo Germán back out there. Who knows what you're going to get from that guy? But the game of the weekend is already setting up to be Cole at Bieber. Mark your calendars. You know we do appointment pitchers here. It's Cole at Bieber Saturday. That's going to be amazing. There's a lot on the slate this weekend. We're going to touch on it as we move through this little Twilight Zone check. In the Central, seeing Chicago moving up to the top of that division eventually is where we're going to be. Kansas City simply not playing well enough, right? Out west, that's where the danger happens. The Mariners are playing so well, and we're going to find out a lot about the Mariners against Boston. So that set, Mariners at Red Sox, is the first of three that I'm checking out today. Blue Jays were the only team that won in the American League East last night. It was a mess. But the Red Sox are still one of the hottest teams, like I said yesterday, kind of overshadowed by what Oakland's doing. And the Mariners, I'm sure, have something to prove there. The Mariners don't get any run. They know that if they go into Boston and win a few games, they're going to be on the map a little bit more predominantly than they are now. So the East is going to be wild, as per. I'm interested to see how the Red Sox handle the Mariners. That's a real kind of balance of power situation to see how these divisions are matching up. And then, of course, you've got, staying out west, Angels, Astros. Both of these teams need a win in the worst way. And Houston's 1-5 at home. You have to think that's going to change. Christian Javier, the pitcher for Houston tonight, he's underrated. He's quite good. Angels have the veteran Cobb, Alex Cobb, the Cobber, big changeup guy. He is hittable, though. I expect to see Houston come out on top tonight, despite the Angels really needing this win as well. And then it's going to be San Diego at LA. That's the marquee matchup again of the weekend. These two teams going at it again. I can't wait for this one. If you're San Diego and you look at that pitching matchup and it's Buehler and Weathers, and that's not great, But weather's been better than Paddock so far, and the Padres can only get better. They lead the league in errors. They're not hitting as well as they could. They've got a bunch of pressure on them. Their young superstar, Tatis, his face is all over video games and posters talking about changing the game. He has a lot of pressure and a big contract. They need to win a few games because that could go into a tailspin. As good as the Padres are, they ran into that buzzsaw that is the Milwaukee Brewers. They need to turn it around, and a few wins against the Dodgers is not looking likely the way they've been playing lately. But we said at the beginning of the week they might have been looking forward to this series. But the Brewers aren't going to sneak up on anybody going forward here. Woodruff is underrated. Nobody sees him, but Corbin Burns, goodness sakes, we talked all about Corbin Burns yesterday. Those two guys at the top, and don't forget, the Brewers have a filthy, filthy bullpen. So I'm picking the Brewers. The Brewers are going to edge out the Cardinals in the Central. That's just based on what I've seen. So the Brewers are good. The Brewers are better, I think, than people realize, especially if Yelich is healthy and has a Yelich type of season. I like the Brewers. I'm taking the Brewers in the Central. My heart is with the Buccos. My first Little League team ever was the Pirates, and I've always been a fan. Will, I love you, buddy. The Buccos are pretty rough. But Hayes, the third baseman, I like him. And this JT Brubaker, another great pitcher that you probably don't know about. Brubaker pitches with a lot of emotion. Slider, sinker guy, crispy fastball. Excitable, plays with some emotion. If you're Pittsburgh, you need that. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, how can you not love JT Brubaker? I'll put him in the comments. His story is a good one. He's a little bit older. He's technically like a sophomore pitcher, but he's been around a bit. I just liked what I saw out of him in brief stints. I have only watched one full game. I watched the Brewers, and he handled the Brewers well. So, JT Brubaker, the guy you never heard of, sporting that 1.76 ERA and that slider sinker. He's really tight with that slider. He can put that anywhere he wants. That backdoor slider of his is nasty. And the 95 plays up. It's crispy. I really like watching JT Brubaker. I mean, people don't have a lot of occasion to watch Pirates baseball, but they have a beautiful yard. And if you're flipping through and Brubaker is on the hill, stick around for a minute and watch that guy go. The emotion is recognizable pretty soon. I like watching him go. So lots of marquee matchups this weekend. I'm really into it, and I'm all over the beer makers. I'm with the Brewers in the Central. That's going to be my pick. I'll be tuned in. Mariners, Red Sox, Angels, Astros, and Padres at Dodgers. And we'll be ready to give you guys the scoop tomorrow here on Talking Baseball. Thanks again for the 100 subscribers. Get at me on Twitter at rybread0844. If you want a steak and you're at the Trop, head over to Bascom's Chop House, best restaurant in the city. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again, Deco Island. You're the best. I appreciate all the likes and views. And we'll see you again tomorrow because I'm going to do 162. Thanks.